What people still remember, nearly 30 years later, is how high the stakes were and how strongly each side believed it was right. Each wanted to save the life of a little blonde-haired boy from Scituate, but as the case of Chad Green unfolded in 1978 and 1979, it moved from hospital offices to closed courtroom hearings. Chad Green was 2.5 when he was diagnosed with leukemia in Nebraska in August of 1977. His parents, Diana and Jerry Green, then moved back to Scituate to live with Chad's grandparents, Hollis and Vera Green, and began his chemotherapy treatments at Massachusetts General Hospital. Soon, however, the toddler was caught up in a fierce battle over that treatment that also involved parental rights, alternative nutritional treatments, laetrile, and medical ethics. Any hope of compromise grew more and more unlikely, and the family fled illegally to a clinic in Tijuana, Mexico. Chad Green died there in the fall of 1979. The cause on the death certificate was listed as leukemia. Now, with the perspective of time, Chad's mother, Diana, who is 53, has written a book about the high-profile case that drew national and international attention. It is called Chad's Triumph, and while it underscores the power of her faith over illness, conflict, and loss, it also reveals some surprising insights into what went wrong. Diana Meyer described for the newspaper what was in her heart and her mind as those events unfolded, based on photographs the newspaper took and has in its file.
Chad looks pretty well. His hair is fairly long, but I think you can kind of see the little dark shadows under his eyes. It's just been a time when we've just gone to the district court. Reporters had come to our home that day, and they had taken these pictures in the driveway. I really felt apprehensive at that time because of the amount of testimony on the other side. But the reason you see so many medical people in that one is they all testified. All of Dr. Truman and his staff got up and testified, and I was the only one that testified for us as far as wanting to be heard about some of the differences we might have for Chad's treatment. It was a happy time. He was in remission, and we're sitting in the kitchen. I think he's eating some fruit and kind of showing off for whoever was there taking his picture. The kitchen and the other little room where he was sitting on the floor was a really main hub of the house. Chad was a real boy. Even though he had this illness, didn't keep him down. He was just as ornery as any other little boy. We always knew he was feeling better when he was kind of being a prankster, or he used to like to jump out of a tub right at the end and just run naked and screaming in Grandma's room and hide under her bed so we couldn't reach him. And so we had a lot of fun with him. He was an outgoing child. The pictures that you're referring to were Hollis's walking in the hall, or UCV sitting in the hall, was very commonplace. Every court hearing we had, every time they took us back, they would come and stand vigil in the hall. Sometimes some of our church friends would accompany them, and sometimes they would just come alone, dress Chad up, and bring him. He was our first witness in the Superior Court. And so he was one of the very first people that came and testified concerning the fact that he ran a clinic in Mexico that incorporated both chemotherapeutic drugs and doctors who were trained in that area with a nutritional and strengthening approach to cancer treatment. I think of Chad a lot. I have his portraits up in the dining room. And, of course, he's buried right here in town so that I can go out and visit his grave. But I think of him very often, and I wonder, like people wonder, I suppose, if he's in heaven, if he's grown up. And if I get there, I thought he'll be a man instead of a little boy. But he's very much part of our family. My daughters and my other children that never met him have framed pictures of him in their houses. So, he's their brother. So we don't have any difficulty reminiscing or talking about him or anything. But he wanted to represent us as he would anyone, he said, that would have a right to choose.